Well, we're back. Today we're going to do a little quick fused glass project. This is the slumping mold we're going to use. What we're going to do with this is we're going to take this piece of green glass, we're going to cut it into a circle. It's like 8 1/4 inches in diameter. And we're going to slump it into here. And then we're going to turn it over kind of like we did with the candy dishes, and we're going to go ahead and drape it into a candle holder. So we'll see how that comes out. So anyway, we'll get set up with our cutter on this and get my cutting board over, and we'll get it set up, and then we'll go ahead and cut that out. On the slumping mold itself, I usually take and coat that so that the glass doesn't stick to it. You can use kiln wash on it. I found this product right here works really good. You want to use it outside where you got lots of ventilation, but it makes it come out really smooth, and it's so much easier to apply to your mold than it is to use kiln wash with a brush. And I've never had this one chip away at all, and it really releases the glass nicely. So it's a little pricey, but it lasts a long time, and a single coat on your slumping mold will last for several applications of glass. So if you're having trouble with your glass sticking to your slumping molds, you might give that a try. So let's move this out of the way. I'll get my cutting board in here, and we'll get our circle cutter out, and we'll get ready to cut this. All right, we're back. So this is the circle cutter I'm using. It's fairly inexpensive. This one's from Amazon. Works nice. It's got a swivel cutter on the end here. Has an oil reserve in here, and it has a suction cup. So we're going to kind of eyeball this in the center. We're going to look at our glass, and we're going to keep our little cutting wheel about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the glass. You want to check all 4 sides, make sure you don't run off your glass. That's going to work right there. Just push it down real tight. Then put your suction cup down. Now what I like to do, even though this has its own oil reserve, I have a little piece of a terry cloth towel. I just like to stick it in here. Set it underneath your cutting wheel here, and just go ahead and let it lay down a little layer of cutting oil. This helps get a nice smooth cut. Just like that. Take and pull that out of the way. You can start anywhere you want to here. We're just going to take and push this down. Come on around. And when you hear kind of a grinding noise, that means you've gotten back to where you started. So, right there. Just pull that up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go offline real quick, and I'll take that oil off so I can see where my cutting line is, and I'll show you how we're going to get that out of there. So after you've scribed your scoring line for your circle with your circle cutter, just take your regular glass cutter, come down here, you can see where the line starts, and just come in here, make a little tick mark. I'm going to do it right here, too. One right here. One right here. One right here. So you start right at the edge where your cut's at. So we're all the way back. Then you take your running pliers and you take it in here. Just take and hold it right here. Give it a little squeeze down. Pull it around. You have one that seems a little bit tight, let it crack there. You can take your grazing pliers right here, or you might be able to get this off of here. So we'll take and get our grazing pliers out. So you take your grazing pliers right here, or you could put it on your grinder and grind it off if you want to. Come right in here, pick that off. I usually take it on my grinder and just clean up the edges here. This is a little bit rough right here. Depending on the glass, some of it cuts perfectly smooth, some of it is a little more brittle. So if you have one that's a little brittle, just put it on your grinder and just knock that off a little bit. Remember, we're gonna slump this on that mold, so these edges will polish up anyway, but I usually like to just clean them up. So I'll go ahead and clean them up real quick. We'll come back and we'll put it on our mold. Then we'll get ready to put it in the kiln and we'll fire it. So we'll be back. Okay, we're back here. I got my circle all cleaned up here on the edges. So now what we're going to do, we're going to put it onto our slumping mold here. And I like to kind of tack it down with just a little bit of white glue. That kind of helps hold the outside edges when it starts to collapse or fold in here. So we're going to just take just a regular little white glue here, and we're going to just put some little dots right there. Not a whole lot, just a couple little dots around here. Sometimes if you don't do this, one edge of the glass will start to collapse sooner than the other, and it will draw your circle in, so you end up with an uneven slump. So this kind of stops that from doing that. Not all the time, but most of the time. And we're going to set this right on here like this. I usually like to have a little more overhang than I have here right now. This is almost exactly the right size of the slumping mold. I usually like to have a little bit of overhang on it, so when you start to let it fall in, it'll shrink, and you're gonna lose some of this. So this will be interesting to see how this comes out here. So we'll let that dry, and then we'll put it in the kiln. Okay, well, we placed the slumping dish mold and the glass in the kiln now. So like I said, in the morning we'll open it up and see how it comes out. So we'll be back when that happens. Well, it's morning here now, so we're going to go ahead and open the kiln. We'll see what we got here. So we get the lid lifted up here. And oh no, looks like we fired this at too hot a temperature, and it's actually pulled the glass apart. So we're going to go ahead and put this on the draping mold and drape it anyway. We'll see what we get. So obviously it's not what we're looking for. This is at 1375. Looks like we're way too hot on it. So when it started to slump, it's just kind of pulling away from itself. So we'll put this on the draping mold and drape it anyway, and see what we come up with. So we may have a real funky looking project here. So we'll give it a whirl. Here we go. Okay, well, we've got our draping mold out here now. So this is just a cone shape. It's got some vent holes in it here. I put a piece of fire paper on top of it here. So we're going to stick our project on top of that. I have no idea what this is going to do. So I'm going to go around the outside edge here with a little bead of white glue. Just like that. So our ill-fated slumping job kind of looks like a palm tree. So I have no idea what this is going to look like, so we'll all have a surprise when we open this up, when we get this draped. So we're just going to turn it over here, and we're going to set it on here. Kind of make sure it's centered here where we want it, just like that. So we'll let this set up for just a few minutes, and then we'll put it in the kiln, and we'll go ahead and we'll fire it, and we'll see what we're going to get here. So we'll be back in a second here. All right, we put it in the kiln here. So we're going to get ready to fire this. We're going to drape this at 1220 degrees. So we'll see where it falls. This may not work, but this is being split across here. This may split apart and just fall down. So I put a piece of fire paper underneath it just in case, so I don't want it to stick to the bottom of my kiln. So anyway, we'll be back after we get this fired, and we'll open it up, and we'll all have a surprise and see how it comes out. All right, well, we're back here. So this is the one that had the tears in the glass. So it just got through fusing, and it's cooled off now. So we're going to open it up and see what we came up with. So here we go. But better unplug it first, because my plug interferes with the lid on this. Here we go. Well, that didn't come out too good. So anyway, I didn't know if we'd get much out of that because of the fact that if you remember, it was split across the top here. So it's kind of interesting though. So we'll stick a candle in it and see what it looks like. Maybe all right. We'll check it out. You notice I put the paper down at the bottom. It's a good thing I did because I see it's gone down here to touch it here. So we'll take it out on the table and we'll show you what it looks like when we get it out. We got it out here. We took the draping mold out of it, as I was afraid of because of this split in the bottom right here. This whole thing opened up. So basically, this project is doomed right from the get-go. But if you don't give it a try, you'll never find out. Sometimes you make a unique project that you didn't plan on. And so I have one other green dish like this that I fired earlier, and it also had a separation in it. So I'll go offline. I'm going to slump that one too, and see how it does. So anyway, I'm going to show a little video of the other green one we made, and how it draped out. It actually came out very nice because the split in that one now was just along the top of in between the side and the bottom, and so that one actually came out. It's actually a product that's probably usable, or you could even sell that one. So all right, well, we're back. Our first attempt there was pretty ill-fated there. I've used that same slumping temperature before over and over and over and never had that issue where the glass kind of separated there. And I'm beginning to wonder, if you remember, we put a little spot glue all the way around these edges here. And I'm beginning to wonder if maybe the glue didn't release soon enough, and as the glass started to slump down into the form here, that this held on before, and the glass slid down and created that gap in there. So what I did is I cut another piece of glass. The other ones were green. This one here is purple. And I'm going to just take this new piece of glass, and I'm just going to set it on here. I'm not going to glue it down at all. And we're going to fire this one at that exact same temperature again and see if this one has any issue as far as separating. So just wanted to come back on and just let you see what we're going to do here. See what we come up with it. But this one here, we're not going to glue down. Maybe I gave you a bad tip there, especially if this one comes out all right and doesn't have any tears in the glass. So we'll be back. We'll be back in the morning after we fuse this and see what we've got. So we'll kind of like do step 2 here and see if we can start over. So we'll be back in a little while. All right, so we're over at the kiln now, and we've got the purple one on here. Now this one I didn't put any glue around the slumping mold at all, so we'll get an idea if it's going to slump without tearing the glass. So we'll keep our fingers crossed, and if that doesn't, then the cure to it is the fact that we're just trying to slump this at too hot of a temperature. So we'll be back in the morning and we'll uncover this one and see how it looks. So we'll see you in a little while. Well, here's one of our purple dishes. When it came out, it's missing a corner right here. So what I did, I just took my glass cutter and I cut off these corners here, and I reshaped the dish of it. What I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to take my grinder, and I think I'm going to come in here and I'm going to scallop this area here like this with my grinder, come all the way around, and just see what kind of an effect that gives us. So when we get this cleaned up where we want it, then we'll go ahead and we'll put it on our draping mold again, and then we'll go ahead and fire it and let it drape over. So I'm saving this one, even though it had a couple little problems with it, just to see what we're going to get. So stick around and we'll have a surprise when we get this one done. So I'm going to just take my grinder and just cut in some eyelets all the way around here. So when I get that done, I'll bring it back and show it to you. Okay, we're back. So I took and I deckled the edges of it here now. So I just did that on my grinder just by taking it and pushing it into the grinding wheel. And then I just kind of smoothed it all up. So came out really nice. So when we get ready to drape it, we'll see where that goes. If you wanted to just leave the dish as a dish, just like this, what I would do with this is put this back into slumping mold, and I would fire this at about, maybe 1220, 1250 degrees, and smooth these edges all off. if you just wanted to leave it as a bowl. But when we drape it over our draping mold here, these will smooth out. So we'll put this on here just like this. We'll take and center it up right like that. And we'll go ahead and we'll drape it down over here, and it'll all crunch up. So it'll be a surprise. We'll see where it goes. So that's one of the fun parts of this. This one here, you can actually take this one and put your draping mold on this way here, so you can find out right where the center's at. So there's a couple ways to do that. So that works out pretty well too. So anyway, we'll just put a couple little spot glues on here, and we'll stick this down, and we'll make sure it's in the center as close as we can get it. That's one thing about the fused glass. Everything's kind of a close, and you'll be surprised when whatever comes out comes out. So we'll be back in a little while. Here again, I keep saying a little while. Actually, it takes a better part of the day to fuse this, because when on the cool down, when it comes back down from the whatever temperature you're heating at, you have to wait till it gets down around, it's got to be under 100 degrees before you start opening things up. Otherwise, you'll shock the glass and you'll break it. So that means all of your effort has gone for nothing. So you have to have a lot of patience to do this. And like I said, this is going to take an all day to get this fused. And then it'll take it all day for it when we get ready to drape it. So we'll be back and when we get this draped, and we'll see what we came up with. All right, we're back. So we took the one that I deckled the edge on, and I put it back into the slumping mold, and I fired it again. This time I fired it at 1375, I'm sorry. And I wanted to polish the outside edges. That's the one where we took the grinder and we deckled it. So this will be our first look at it. So let's take a peek and see what we've got here. So this is our finished product. You can see it's got the deckled edges on it now. And by going to 1375, that made them go all smooth. So it's like a polished fire. So now what we're going to do with this is we're going to take it out and we'll put it on our draping mold, and we'll come back and we're going to drape it. We'll drape it at 1220 degrees, just like we've done the other ones. And we'll see what we have. So tomorrow morning, we'll open this up and see what we've created. So we'll be back. Okay, so I placed this in the kiln here. So it's on the draping mold now, so it's upside down, the bowl is. So in the morning, we'll open this up and see what the final results are. So hopefully we'll have something that is quite attractive. We'll be back. Okay, so we're back. It's the next morning here, so we're going to open this up. This is the one that we draped. So let's see how it came out. This is draped at 1220 degrees. So we'll go ahead and open her up and take a look at it. All right, so here's our project here. You can see we've got a couple here that are pretty close to the same size, and we have one that's a little bit smaller here. When you drape here, you have to be really careful, because like right here, you see how these sides have come in against the cone. If you try to get these all three to come in there, what's going to happen is it's going to get trap the draping cone, and you'll either break the glass. Okay, so we're back up on the work table now. We got our draped project here. So now we're going to take it off the cone. So just turn it over, and I'm going to just take a little hammer here, and I'm going to really lightly just tap on it and push it off there. So here's how it came out. It came out really interesting. We got a couple here that are fairly close to the same. One big one here. So that's an interesting looking project. So like I say, you never know exactly how these are going to come out. We're going to put a candle in this one, so that ought to be a nice effect. So I hope you've been following along on that. So we'll get a candle out and we'll get it lit up after we get it cleaned up here. We're going to wash it in soap and water. I did want to come in one more time. Remember, we were having the problem with it tearing a little bit on when we were slumping it. And I came to the conclusion that tacking it around the edges with that glue was the reason it was tearing, because the glue was not releasing quick enough, and the glass would start to slump before the glue released, and it was tearing the glass apart. So this is the last one we did right here. This is the one we did, came out perfect, and we didn't. This is the one that we didn't glue. So if I led you astray, I'm sorry. I've glued them over the years and never had that trouble. But for some reason, either this glue that I currently are using is stronger than I had before. But anyway, so this is the one we made that wasn't glued at all, and it came out really nice. So we'll go from there. So we'll get our little project cleaned up. We'll get a candle in it. We'll light it up, and then we'll go ahead and we'll finish this video off, and we'll be on to the next project. All right, so we brought our little candle holder in now. We've got it all cleaned up. We put it on a little doily. My wife had some seashells laying around, so she says, let's put some in there and scatter them around, so it kind of gives you an idea what this looks like. So come in here real close. The draping looks really nice on it. So it's a very unique piece. Here again, it's one of a kind. Most all of these ones that are fired glass are all one of a kind. We'll come around to the side here and take a look at the other side here. Take a look at it here. So anyway, I hope you've been following along and hope you've enjoyed this video. We'll be back for another one here, another adventure. And hope you'll subscribe to my channel. Appreciate you watching. Thank you.